Hello and good morning. Welcome to Leave It Love. Leave It Love, the channel. It's a spiritual channel. I talk about spiritual things all the time. I do return to senders. I talk about the splash. The splash is just awesome for getting rid of the negative, nasty, toxic energy, those cords of attachment. What this does? This gets rid of all of that. It's like I'm gonna have a good day. um, but what I wanted to go into today is I'm still talking about the courthouse. I'm still talking about the courthouse because like on Facebook, like you have memories. So last year, I was talking about this Netflix series. It was called The Worst Ex Ever because you think you have a bad ex. It's like these people crazy, but whatever, they're crazy. And there was one, and it was in the Bronx. It was in the Bronx, and it was on Webster Avenue. And the girl had the woman. She's a woman, grown woman, and she had the Golden Crust restaurant on Webster. And I knew, and they was like, "Oh, she's an amazing cook. Like she cooks so good." And food is how you get me with food. Like if you could cook, yeah, I'm coming over. But like I knew the place because I knew that she could cook. Like she was a great cook. And there was a time she was like not in the office, not there, and then the business closed down and like all this stuff happened. But I didn't know that she was dealing with whatever she was dealing with. She was dealing with a fucking crazy ex, and he's married, and he got a wife, and he got kids, and then he's after her, chasing her, and wanting to make her life miserable, and she didn't want to be with him. So he done went, and then he's connected to the police, and he's connected to the courthouse, and then he got all these connections, had her in jail for like 7 months. I was like, oh my God, like she went through so much stuff, and it's because of the corruption in the courthouse, the corruption with the police. Like everybody's connected. Everybody's connected to this shit. Nobody's gonna help you. Nobody's gonna say nothing, but they'll all ruin your life. They'll all take a part in ruining your life. And I'm just like, oh my God. Whatever. But I was talking about the show. I was like, yo, you gotta watch the show. It's called Worst Ex Ever. Worst Ex Ever. It had like 4 episodes. Each episode is like an hour. Each episode is a story about a crazy relationship. And they tried to kill the other person, and then it's how they save themselves. And it's like, each issue is somebody had to die. That's the only reason their story ever got fucking televised. Somebody had to die, you know serial killers, all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like somebody really has to die for somebody to do their fucking job. And then they spoke about the corruption in the courthouse. Like nobody in the courthouse did their job. And I was like, yo, that's what they do. Nobody does their job. Everybody can see the document on their desk. Everybody can see it. They can read it. They can look at the pictures because there's pictures in the 405-page document. They don't look at this shit. They don't look at it. They just like, they don't, and nobody will do their fucking job. And it's just like, oh my God, who can you talk to? Who can you tell? Who can I tell? I'm like, worst ex ever. And then I think it was the first episode, and he was like Indian or Guyanese. He was a Guyanese guy. And he was walking around like he a police officer wearing police clothing. He had connections to everybody. He must have been like an informant. That's how he had connections to the courthouse, and everybody would do what he wanted. And it was just fucking crazy. And this woman's in jail for 7 months for a crime she didn't even commit because this crazy man wanted to put her in jail. And I'm like, and this is the shit that I'm going through now with the Bronx Supreme Courthouse. And then nobody wants to do their job. Nobody wants to look into their case. Nobody wants to read it. Nobody wants to look at it. Look at the fucking file. Look at the nepotism. Look at the favoritism. Look at the harassment, look at the bullying, look at the targeting, look at the retaliation because of the complaint. Just look at this shit, read this shit. And it's just like, oh my God. And it's years of this hot mess. Years, 20 years. Give it 20 years, because I quit this job because it was so bad. And I'm like, wow, they even made a documentary about the courthouse, and then they take it to another county. And I'm like, how can they take it to another county? Because when I've been looking for an attorney, they always say, oh, it's outside of my jurisdiction. Oh, they can't, nobody can fucking help me. But then to get this woman arrested, they go take her to another county jail. It's like, how are you in another county jail and you're not a resident of that county? But they put you in that county because the laws are different. Everybody got their own laws. They treat you all kinds of fucked up. It's just crazy. And then they all know each other. They all know each other, so they all take a part of it and act like they don't know nothing, and they're all in on it, and it's crazy. But a documentary was made. It was called Worst Ex Ever. And then it talked about the courthouse, all the shit in the courthouse. And nobody ever did anything. Like, she would complain and she would file a police report. She would do everything. And nobody ever did anything. And then they have the documents, they have the proof, they have everything right there. But they kept this woman in jail for 7 years. I mean, 7 years, 7 months. And I'm like, I hope she sued. She sued. She had to have sued, because it's like, you know, people can do this to you and ruin your life. People with power, people with money, people with positions, and they abuse their power because they think that you're nobody, that they think that you're just a regular person and you don't have any rights and you have to do whatever the fuck they say because they're in command. And it's like, everybody has a boss. Everybody has a boss. Who the fuck is your boss? Who is overriding you? You think that you can just do whatever, these people, they need somebody to like just beat the shit out of them. But it's like, you have to be politically correct, and oh, you can't talk like that, and oh my God, and it's fucking crazy. And it's like, they make you so upset by their ignorance, by their negligence, by their stupidity. It's like, it's it's right here. It's right here. And nobody will fucking look at it. And it's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I'm talking about the courthouse. My case. My case is index number 1021-2024. So it's been a year since I filed it in 2024. Paulina B. Garcia versus the Bronx Supreme Courthouse, comma, the Unified Court System. Since it's an entire system, is not just the Bronx. I'm not just suing the Bronx. I'm suing the entire New York State. So the case is federal. So, okay. So how is this a federal case and nobody's looking into this? Nobody is doing their job. No one is bringing attention to the case. And then it's like, it's been filed since March 1st of 2024, and no one has responded to the case. You have 35 days, 45 days to respond to an action. If someone is suing you, you have 35 to 45 days to respond. They never responded. So it's like you win by default. I would win by default. And it's like what the hell? Like, does somebody have to make a Lifetime movie about the shit about Paulina B. Garcia and the Bronx Supreme Courthouse and the negligence and the stupidity and the corruption and the organized crime? Because everybody's in on it. Everybody is in on this shit. Everybody knows about this, and nobody will do anything about it because it's outside of my jurisdiction. But and then it's like they can put you in jail in a whole nother county that you don't reside in, and you got to follow their rules because that's not your county, and they got their own rules. Like, every little borough has their own kind of rule. Isn't that crazy? Like, why can't people, if it's an organization everything should be the fucking same for everybody in every state. It shouldn't be different rules for every borough. Like that's crazy. That is stupid. But that's how corruption is kept. It's kept like that. It's kept locked. It's kept internalized because each borough has their own rules, has their own laws, has their own people. You can't come over here. You can't tell me what to do over here. And it's like, yeah, that's why there's corruption all over the state of New York because there's no organization. You're trying to keep it contained. You're trying to keep the crime contained. But it's like these are fucking criminals in places of power. They abuse their power. They abuse the people. They're not helping the people. It's abusing the people. And I'm like, it was already a documentary about it because I saw it, the worst ex ever. And I'm just like, wow. And it just was telling you like nobody would do their job. Nobody would look at it. Nobody did anything to help this woman. And she was in jail for 7 months for a crime she didn't even commit because the man, the ex, was mad that she didn't want to be with him. And he put her in jail because he had political power. And I'm just like, oh, but it's like, it's the same thing that I'm dealing with, but I'm not fucking nobody. Like, I'm not sleeping with none of these nasty people in the courthouse. Like, ew. They just, nobody wants to do their job because I'm right, and whatever I'm suing them for, I'm right. Because if I wasn't right, they would have already disputed it. They would have responded. They would have said something. But because I'm right, nobody wants to respond. They want to act like, oh, like I didn't file these fucking papers. I'm like, you piece of shit. Like, I filed these papers. I have the right of way. I'm gonna win my fucking case, and nobody wants to respond because they lost. They lost how are you gonna win? How are you gonna win over this? What you gonna say? What can they say? So they want to act like, oh, it wasn't filed. So they want to act like it wasn't filed, so they don't have to respond. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I'm on 100 right now. Like I'm on 1,000, and it's just like, oh my god, nobody's gonna do their job. Like it has to be on Lifetime. It has to go on Netflix for somebody to actually do their fucking job. Like it has to be televised. Somebody has to fucking die before they actually sit there and do their job. Somebody gotta die. And it's crazy. And a lot of people have already died. They already died. But why have they died? Like, do they get money for their dying? Like, how are these people dying like this? And it's like, who's getting money for their death? That's how you know who's doing the shit. Who is getting the money? But nobody wants to use their brain and think about it. They just think like, oh, everything is okay, everybody's doing their job. Nobody's doing their job. Nobody's doing their job. Everybody's doing the same thing. They sitting there, they're playing in your face, they're wasting time, they're getting government money, and they're abusing their power, and they're not helping the general public. They're abusing people. You know how many people been in jail for no reason? They don't have no reason to be in jail. They in jail because somebody mad at them. Somebody with political power is mad at them, and they're like, oh, let me go fuck up their life for a day, or make them have a bad weekend and get them locked up. Because if you get locked up on Friday, you're not getting out till Monday. That's how that should go. Like it's closed. Everything is closed on the weekend. You can't do nothing. So you don't get locked up on a Friday. Don't get locked up on a Friday, because if you get locked up on Friday, you're not getting out till Monday. That's how it goes, because everything is closed. That's what they say. Everything is closed. It's the law. The only reason I know the law is because I had to deal with the law. Been a government employee since 2006. I resigned in 2020, but you see the shit. I see the shit. I see it, and then it's like I can't even say nothing because I work there. You work there, so you're not allowed to say anything about anything that happens. You can't say nothing. I don't work there. So I could talk about this shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, y'all gonna have to do a Netflix series about the fucking courthouse for somebody to actually pay attention to what the hell is going on, to pay attention to the corruption that goes on in the Bronx Supreme Courthouse. It's all the courthouses because they're all connected. Everybody is connected. Every borough has their own rules. That's why they're all corrupt. That's why crime is contained in that borough. It's crazy, but it's not so crazy if you sit there and read the fucking document. It's in the documents. It's in the document. The names, the contacts, the emails, the phone numbers, everything is in the document, but nobody wants to read. Nobody wants to do their job. It is just like, oh my God. I'm just talking because I'm like, yo, all this stuff is happening. What was it? It was a Facebook memory. And I was talking about the worst ex ever. And it was on Netflix. And it was talking about the courthouse. And I'm like, this woman was in jail for a crime she didn't commit because of some crazy person that has power. And I'm like that's what I'm going to, but I'm not fucking nobody. Like nobody's close to me. Nobody has any kind of connection to me. You can't say shit to me because I talk. I respond. So you can't even say nothing to me. I'm not friends with nobody. So it's like how you gonna approach me? And if you approach me, you have to come correct. You can't come to me any kind of way. Come correct. If you coming to me and you trying to tell me some shit and you think that I don't know my shit, like no, no, get your shit together and come to me correct. But nobody has responded. No one has responded. No one. I've been waiting for somebody to knock on my door and say nobody responded. And I'm like, these pieces, they're corrupt. Like the whole organization, the whole system is corrupt. The entire unified court system is corrupt. That's why I'm suing the entire New York state for corruption of organized crime. It's a RICO crime because everyone is a part of it. Wherever you go, everybody knows everybody else. And it's like whenever you think somebody's going to help you, they don't. They don't. The district attorney, attorney general, you go to the judge. I went to so many people. I think I emailed like 400 over. It was over 400, 500 people. And everybody tells me, no, we don't go against the courthouse. Nobody wants to go against the courthouse. Why you don't want to go against the courthouse? Because it's organized crime. It's fucking crime. It's some criminals in there. But who is the top criminal that they're so afraid of? Everybody's afraid of this fucking top dog and nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to do their fucking job. And it's just like somebody from FBI, somebody from somewhere else is going to have to come in and do something because the little people don't want to do their job. Little people don't want to do their job. Police don't want to do nothing. Nobody wants to do nothing. So somebody's going to have to come in and do their fucking job. And then even so, they could be a part of it too. They could be connected too because why hasn't anyone done anything yet? And then it's like it's been filed since 2024. Documentaries already have been made about this shit and nobody does anything. Like, are you kidding? Nobody does anything. And it's like the more time you waste, it's more money for the pain and the suffering and the time wasted. They wasted a lot of people's time. And I don't know what they're waiting for. It's like you're waiting for someone to die. I, it's crazy because nothing's gonna ever happen to me. Things are just gonna go to shit for them. Things are gonna go. They're gonna be worse for them. That's not my problem. All I need is somebody to do their job. All I need is justice for all of the injustices. And I'm just talking because I'm like, a documentary must have to be made in order for anything to get done. Like, it has to be made public for anyone to do their fucking job because I'm like, yo, how is everyone hiding the document. Everyone is hiding the issues that's going on because nobody wants to talk about what's going on in the courthouse. Yeah, it's a lot of shit going on in the courthouse. It's a lot, a lot of stuff. A lot of different kinds of people have different kinds of stories about the courthouse, about the Bronx Supreme Courthouse, about the courthouse in general. There's a lot of stories. No one does their job. Nobody. Nobody in the system does their job. They have a job and no one does it. And then if you have a good employee that does their job, then that's the best employee, and everybody will always go to them because they actually do their job and they do a good job. Everybody else, no. It's hard to find somebody that does their job and does a good job. It's so hard. So when you have a good one, you know, take care of that employee because they're actually a good employee. I got tired. I was like, fuck all of y'all. And I quit. I was like, I am ranting. I am ranting because of this Facebook memory about worst ex ever. And it was about the courthouse and how the courts never did anything. And this woman was put in jail for 7 months for a crime she did not commit because of the corruption in the government, the corruption within the unified court system. The police are connected, the attorneys are connected, the judges are connected. Everybody is connected to this shit and nobody says anything. People have to die. People have to die in order for anyone to do anything about anything. We'll see what happens. But if something ever happens to me, is the fucking courthouse because I don't have no friends. I don't like nobody. Nobody talks to me. Nobody visits me. It's like, I have issues with the courthouse. That's about it. Issues with the courthouse. And nobody wants to respond to me. Nobody wants to say nothing. I want somebody to respond. And nobody wants to respond. And it's like, wow. Like, you have something, like I have something. There's something in this case because if it was lies, they would have responded. But because it's actual truth, nobody has anything to say because it's all fucking truth here. Leave love, leave love, stay positive, vibe high. Yo, the splash is doing wonders. Like, it's clarity. You just have clarity of the mind. You have clarity of everything. Leave a love. Bye. Have a good day. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.